Alright, Meteor tutorial series. So, we're going to be working on four poi, and I wanted to just kind of get started with a few of the basics and then move on to more and more complex things as I go. So, to start off, one of the first questions that everybody asks me is meteors or four poi? And to me, choosing meteors is better because I don't have to worry about knobs being in my hands and trying to like orient and continue to fuss with those. But more so, having a meteor lets me get away with being able to have an even smaller grip. So being able to control just one point on the meteor and use different kinds of grip control goes a really long way. More than that, it also makes it so that when one head moves, the energy from that one head is bound to travel down to the other head. So being able to use that to my advantage when I want to create more motion using less energy versus having four individual knobs or four individual poi will create a kind of suspension in between the two knobs that gives you a certain measure of control, but it can be harder to make the pinky side do what you want it to without having to assert control over that pinky side all the time. So just some first steps. I'm actually going to use this one so that you can have pink for pinky as we go. So the first thing that you'll want to learn is static versus R-type for your spinning. So some of you may find this super easy, some of you may find this really difficult. For me, using this stick-shaped poi head actually helps a lot to give me space for the two sides to pass by each other. But if you need more room and you're using a spherical head, you can extend your index finger and push out the rope like this to create more room, and that should help. From this static versus R-type, we can swing we can move through anti-spins, in-spins, we can make flowers, we can do all these kinds of things. But what you'll notice is that every motion that you create is going to do something to the pinky side. And this is kind of the first lesson of meteors, is that every one action of my arm or of my hand is going to create two actions in the poi. And so the more that I can feel that out and start to gain control, the better off I'm going to be in the long run. And so from here, the next one we're going to want to look at is this, which is just floor plane or ceiling plane with the index, and then trying to stir up the pinky side into its own plane. So top one stays on top, bottom one stays on bottom, and then you have a horizontal one beat move. If you're struggling to get this to go, try adding a bit more flick in your wrist where you're really trying to like over dramatize the amount of motion that your hand is creating. Something that may help is imagine you're holding a pencil. So the pencil has a graphite side and an eraser side. And now holding that pencil out, imagine a small cube around your hand. And so you're going to take that pencil inside of the cube and imagine you're going to use each side of the pencil to draw a circle on the top and bottom of the cube at the same time. And what you'll get is this kind of hourglass shape with the pencil, where the ends of the pencil are equal opposite at all times, right? And so I can use this same theory to draw a circle on the top of the top and bottom, as much as I could also use it to draw a circle on the front and the bottom, to use it to draw a circle on the side and the bottom. And once you've figured that out on this horizontal one beat weave, with a little bit of extra up and down inertia, you can change that one beat weave into a butterfly. And from there, I can add pinky control, and just imagine you're pulling on a bike brake with your pinky, and you can pull down or lift up and add tension to the rope on the pinky side, and you'll be able to start asserting plane control. And so our first goal is this, the atomic butterfly. And as you'll see, I've got a wall versus floor orientation, and for all later adages, I'm gonna be always using the term index versus pinky. So wall versus floor is index versus pinky. So in this case, I've got wall versus floor, and then I could switch. I could go floor versus floor. I could go wheel versus floor. I could even do ceiling, or I could do ceiling versus wall like this. And learning all of these different orientations is going to be super powerful just for overall control, as well as just like small minutia control of like the various different states of Meteor. And so once we have a butterfly going, the next most important thing to learn, and I cannot stress this enough, is the atomic cap. And we'll do that by lifting up and down. And so the hand path for this is a triangle, where we're gonna go up, down, like that. And if you consider a butterfly, both halves of the meteor are moving in opposite directions. So if I start moving my hand around when I'm in a butterfly, that means that one side will always be moving in anti-spin and the other side will always be moving in in-spin. And so in the cap, that means that the anti-spin pedal is actually exchanging sides. So while the yellow one is anti-spinning, the pink one is extending, and when the pink one is extending, the yellow one is anti-spinning. And then they switch, 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 switch. So you can do this as a side cap. You can do this as a down cap. You can do this on non-native, which is a little bit more difficult. But any of these, I can add a bit more inertia, give it a little more gusto, and they will become a wall versus wall. You can do that on the side cap. You can do that on the bottom cap. For the bottom cap, I'm always focusing on the anti-spin side of it to really clean them up. And then for the side caps, to get this like really pretty all-wall version, what you'll notice is that instead of cutting my hand path down into this quadrant, I'm actually cutting down and then slicing inward, and then the push out back to the side is actually what helps generate the force for the anti-spin on the other side. You can really you can push this out and really make it super big if you want that for the visual aesthetic, but just to get it going in the first case is really like draw it out to the side and then back toward your heart and then back out and then up. And that's the atomic cap. So go practice, learn it in all directions.